How's it going, nerds? Welcome back. Welcome back to Cities Skylines. I certainly hope you're having a good one because I am excited to be back. And what a world we live in. A world where Sunset Harbor is not all that far away. If you haven't seen my video talking about the latest Cities Skylines expansion and DLC, I recently posted a trailer reaction and review and deep dive thing that I would highly recommend checking out because I go into my thoughts on it, what I'm hoping for and what I'm excited for, and we've got a bit of a conversation going on in the comment section of that video about the DLC itself. A lot of interesting ideas, a lot of stuff that I think looks really cool, and I'm definitely excited to play it and share it with all of you when that DLC comes out on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. As for Dorchester here, getting back on topic, there have been a lot of changes since the last episode, and I want to take a second to explain why. So I don't want to get too real here. I know YouTube videos are, especially these days, a way to sort of escape from the reality of the world at the moment, and I do hope everyone is keeping safe and looking after themselves and those most vulnerable amongst us. But with everything going on in the world right now, I've just been struggling to feel motivated to sit down and actually record things. And when I played this game on the live stream, I just really want to have the conversation and have the live chat there rather than taking 45 minutes to kind of ignore the chat and just record. I'm trying to distance myself from what's going on in the real world as well at the moment. And one of the ways I'm doing that is just to stream a lot more. So that's why I've not recorded a lot of the changes that we've made. To be fair though, a lot of them are things we've done before, just changing drain lines, just building some grids and filling in a lot of little gaps. A lot of it is very tedious and I will run you through all of that, but I just wanted to explain why I've not recorded on any of the recent Cities Skylines live streams. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into it and take a look at what has changed. So we'll start where we left off in the last episode. This area here has been completely built up, and like I said, it is essentially just a series of grids and districts and all that good stuff. You can see here we've got a little district down here that doesn't look like it has a name on it anywhere. That's kind of strange. Let's just go ahead and fix that right there. I think we just have to change the name to not have an E, then put an E on there, and there we go. So we've got Robin Square right there, we have Mill Heights right here, we have Pleasant Hills right here, and the way the highway comes in is, just loops around, does its thing. It actually goes over the monorail and just connects in here, and I thought that was kind of just an easy way to do things. Traffic is surprisingly decent in that area, and having the monorail push straight through from over by the airport, through the hub there, and straight through here, I just thought it looked kind of nice, and it is still relatively popular. The monorail has about 2,000 people per week using it. I would like that to be higher, and I would like to see if we can get that number up a little bit, but I thought this was a pretty good way to do things for this relatively new area. I am thinking I would like to make a change to the highway that pushes through here. I'm thinking I'm going to bring that up to ground level and turn it into a 6-lane avenue, and have all of the little side roads just connect to it, because I think there'll be enough connections to it that it won't be crazy in terms of traffic flow. And I think if we have the lanes set up properly, we can totally do that. But that's something we'll get to in just a second, because there have been some other changes. Moving across the water a little bit, I've gone ahead and just filled in some more of this space around Melissa Mac Park, and generally just tried to make it feel a little bit more dense. Moving away from this area up here a little bit, you might remember that we had a park in here, an actual park in here. We had Cooper Garden in this area. The reason Cooper Garden is now gone is quite simply, let me just fix this because a neat park is a happy park, is quite simply because from this angle here, when you zoom out a little bit, there was just not enough density. It just looked like there was way too much green space. So I wanted to put an actual district in there, get some actual buildings in there, and that is exactly what I did. I do want to fill in more of the green space that's still left here. I do want to get that density up, the building density up there a little bit. So that is something I'm gonna need to do, because the city still doesn't quite look dense enough in this area. And part of that, I think, is just the train line pushing through there. So I might have to do something with the train line in the near future, but we'll come to that shortly. Moving away from what was once a park, I have changed this road a little bit, and we have another bridge that leads past the industrial area, goes underneath the suburbs, and connects over to this junction here. The reason that bridge exists is because I thought, at the very least, that it might alleviate some of the traffic that we have on, this main road down here. It ever so slightly did. The buses now use that particular road, which is fantastic, but it didn't really do anything else for the rest of traffic, so traffic in this area is still as bad as it ever was. And as has become a meme at this point, future Dylan can fix that, because current Dylan doesn't really feel like it. And now we're getting into the real bulk of what has changed. I've been intentionally avoiding a certain part of the city, and that is because if we go ahead and turn off the HUD, you'll notice that the skyline is a little bit more dense over here. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I did go ahead and did put in the servicing services offices, and I did move the high interest tower as well. But not only that, I did go to the Steam Workshop and I acquired 2 California Plaza, I acquired 340 on the park, and I acquired the New York Times building, as well as a few other things as well, such as a modern parking garage and a mall parking garage, which I think have all come together. Oh, there's another building in there as well. This one right here. Cinema, condominiums, whatever. Basically, I went and got a bunch of skyscrapers because I wanted this area to feel like a central business district. So I wanted skyscrapers, and at the foot of the skyscrapers, I wanted plazas. So we've got plazas in the in the footprint of the skyscrapers. We've got plazas next to the high interest tower. We have a really great transport connection with this monorail station. Traffic in this area is really, really low. There's almost none of it. And admittedly, that's because, if we actually look at the zoning, there's not really much of it. Most of it is, in fact, made up of unique buildings. But traffic is really low, and having the monorails go through here, I think, is fantastic. So I love this area. I love how it looks. And the whole goal of it was to just create an interesting skyline, so that from this angle, you just see these massive buildings down by the water. And then if we look at it from way over here, you can clearly see where the central business district and the real center of the city is. And that's kind of why I want to change this area a little bit more. I want to go in and I want to say that these areas are going to have high-rise bands, because honestly, I feel like they should. I feel like we shouldn't have high-rise buildings on this side of town. So I'm going to go in and essentially make that happen. I also want to make sure that this isn't... I don't think this district here does have any kind of IT cluster specialization there. So essentially, we're going to go in and we're going to change all of this to have high-rise bands, because I just feel like this part of the city shouldn't have massive high-rise buildings. I feel that the high-rises really need to be clustered into this space over here. So I'm going to try and move all of my IT clusters down to this side of things, which might mean that well, actually, no, the tourism space here can stay. I think that's fine. I like where that is. Also, Expo Center. I don't know if we did that in the last episode, but I thought that was a cool place for it. And also doubled up the malls here as well, just right next to the tourism and all that stuff. And generally speaking, I love how it looks, and that's something I want to expand upon a bit more as well. But the thing is, we still don't have all of the tiles that I want. If we have a little look here, not at that one, at this, we're still missing this tile up here, which, it'll be useful to have, but it's not essential. What I really want is that area over towards the edge of the map, and obviously I do kind of want all of the tiles that are available as well, because there looks to be some good flat land up that way. So I'm very tempted, and I'm going to throw this idea out to all of you because I feel like there's been a lot of just sitting around waiting with this series. Do we just go into the options, go to the 81 tiles mod and unlock all of them for free? Because if we do that, I think we could really just step up the production of this city. There's obviously a lot of empty space still in here, and changing all that, putting in all those high-rise bands is about to do some interesting stuff for the population, but I feel like we're not getting the population that we should be getting. So I'd like to fix that a little bit if we can. Anyway, I will leave that ball in your court. You guys can decide that amongst yourselves and leave your feedback in the comments below. What I want to do today, or what I want to do to start today, is I want to go in here and essentially tear out all of this zoning along the highway there. And I want to go in and tear out all of this zoning here as well. So from here, going the whole way down to there, we want all of that to be gone. Because this highway road here, as well as the roads that run alongside of it, all gonna go and be replaced with an avenue. And part of me is actually very tempted to say that avenue could be the 8-lane road that goes through here. But on the other hand, I look at that and I think, is that maybe too much? It could be. It could be a bit much. So we'll figure that out. Anyway, let's go ahead and get rid of all of this. So all the buildings, all the pathways, all these connections. It's probably going to mess up some bus lines as well. But we get rid of every little bit of it. And then we just replace it with an avenue that's going to connect to everything. This metro station, by the way, I guess I should mention that. We do have some metro lines underneath Dorchester, but they are not going to be staying. I did do some testing with metro lines, and I guess I can show you that. I did do some testing with metro lines to see how popular it would be in here, and it's only got 347 people using it. Now, admittedly, it's 4 lines that sort of go from the airport towards this central station and then over towards this way. So it's not necessarily, you know, set up for success, but at the same time, I just kind of prefer the monorails. So the monorails are what I'm going to continue to focus on, is what I'm thinking. Anyway, let's go ahead and bring ourselves an 8-lane road through this space, and we need it to use guidelines, so I can line it up right about there. We'll actually go to about there, and essentially this is just gonna go straight down the middle, you know, straight out to right there. And everything we have, every road that we have here, is gonna go like this, and then this road up here is gonna come down like this. This road right here can probably connect slightly differently. Let's go like this, so the junctions are a little bit further apart. These roads over here are just going to run straight into it, so you're going to go to there. That can run straight into there. I guess it can be a one-way road still. I don't know if we need it to be a one-way road anymore, but that's what it's going to be. And then up this way, we need to have an avenue that goes out to there. And obviously the zoning in this isn't going to be perfect, but that's kind of okay. Not really the end of the world if the zoning isn't quite perfect there. Also thinking we could probably get away with a larger one-way road there. So we'll have this just push straight through the middle of that area. And the reason I'm not sure about this is because I look at it and I'm like, well, if this area is not going to have super high-rise buildings, should it have a super dense road through the middle? But then I think about it, it's like, well, if it's not going to have super dense high-rise buildings, should it have a super dense, well, I say super dense, should it have the massive highway going through the middle? And it's, yeah, it's tricky one is what it is. Let's go ahead though and get this right in here. We'll try and get the 130 on the angle. That looks all right, I guess. I'm wondering if there's a better way I could do this to get this to really line up nice. I mean, that looks acceptable is what it looks. I think we'll use the thicker road is what we'll do. So bring this out to about there and run it straight into there. And we'll use, let's see, let's do straight slope, and let's try and just keep this whole thing elevated. So something like that, I guess, kind of works. It's a nice gradual little slope down, nice gradual little curve. I think it'll do the job. And I think we'll just go ahead and let's do some lane management right off the bat. So we'll just control click a bunch of the intersections and just see what traffic thinks of it, I guess. So this intersection here as well, it's going to be one going left, one going straight on, two going to the right. That seems a little bit interesting. This one here is two to the right, two going straight on. This side could probably have another going to the left. And then up here is going to be two to the right, one going straight on, one going left, and then left right there. Now, my plan with this as well is that I'd really like to bridge it over the water. Because I've talked about how much I'm really enjoying seeing everything going on, you know? That's kind of the big thing with Dorchester, is seeing the lines, and also just getting rid of the metro because we don't really need it. I like seeing my public transport. That's why I'm not too worried about metro working or not working, because I think it's more interesting when, you know, you have your transport lines and you have them visible, right? So having a metro that doesn't work is whatever, really. I will say, you know, obviously with Sunset Harbor coming up, you know, being able to put the metro above ground is going to be a really nice change of pace for that kind of thing. It means we can actually go ahead and actually make it look all nice. But until then, we are ever so slightly limited in what we can do with the metro lines. Now, let me go ahead and move this to right about there. Actually, let's move it along one more. Let's move it along another one if we can, which we can't. That's fine. Reason I wanted to move it is because I can just move this down to about here and leave the entrance of that open. Now, we are probably going to want to get another entrance on here. So let's see. Let me go for a little entrance. I'm thinking about there. I don't think we want... Well, maybe we do. Maybe we will do an entrance on the highway down there. We'll do it there instead, though. Or not the highway, the avenue. It needs to be, it's an avenue. It's not a highway. It is very much an avenue. We'll keep this in the ground. We'll bring it out to there, bring you out to there, and that looks like it'll be totally fine. I mean, I guess we could do a little curve just in here. I suppose that'll kind of look better. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And yeah, this will just be a nice big park at the side of everything. At the side of this giant road, we'll have a beautiful little park in here. We'll have room for more buildings back here if we really wanted them. Room for more paths and all that good stuff as well. But let's just go ahead first and let the simulation run, because I'm curious to see what traffic does with this road. I don't really want to do any priority signs. I don't really want to do any, you know, give way, stop, or whatever. I just want to see what they do with traffic lights. And I suppose we should also connect up the various paths that we have here while we're waiting to see what people do. So I'm not going to connect down to this directly, I don't think. I don't know if that'd be a good idea. We could bridge over it, though. Thinking about it, because there's a little, like, this could probably ramp up. So let me actually try that. Let me go right here to about that spot. Let me elevate this to, I don't know what height we're going to be looking at here. Let's try and just go, let's go 8 meters to start with and make it nice and level with that bit. So that's nice and level thus far. We'll bring this out to here. We'll bring it over to here. And then we could do a nice straight slope down to there, which admittedly looks a bit weird. But what we can also do is just grab that node, and that node, and elevate it all to be the same height as that node, which is a pretty, I mean, that's pretty high up in terms of pedestrian paths. But what I think we could also do is go in, bulldoze that entire section of road there, and turn that into a nice straight slope as well, so it might not look as silly. You can actually go from about there. It might not look as silly having that road really high up. So that does push the, you know, the height of the land up a bit, but we can smooth that. We can make it look okay, and I think that'll be all right. So let's do the same thing here. Keep you elevated. Go to there. That actually looks a fair bit better. So I kind of dig that. I like it a lot, and I think that'll be really useful. Let's go ahead and turn this entire path back here into not an elevated one, but just a regular sort of concrete path there. And I guess we could... Let's see. Let's dezone this little corner. I realize I've kept the game paused for almost all of this thus far, but what I'll do with this little corner is I'll go to... Let me see if it'll let me do this properly. We'll go to... Can I turn off grid snapping for a second? Let's go to about here. So we'll do this. And we'll go from about here. And we'll have that just be like a little park space. Is what we'll do. We'll have that be all nice like and just be a beautiful little park area. I think this node here might ever so slightly need to be lowered if I could move it to work for me. So there we go. We'll bring that down just a little bit. So down to about there. That's got a lot steeper though. It probably would have made more sense to go underground, but we'll keep it like that. And that'll just be a little park space in the corner there. So let's see what traffic does. That's what I'm excited about. I'm excited to see what traffic does. Although now that I think about it, it's not going to do much because this road was, at a time at the very least, pushing straight through. You know, it was a highway that went over to the other side here. So let's get rid of that bit because there was a little bugged bit under there. Let's take out this entire section of highway, which might, you know, cheer people up a little bit. And we're going to bring it all the way around. And we'll go ahead and bulldoze that bit as well. And what I'm thinking we do here is we're going to want to take out those walls, which, you know, they looked great, but we'll take them out. What I think we do is we get ourselves a nice section of avenue here. We say it's going to be elevated. We say we're going to bring it right up to 10 meters in height. And it's going to live right about there. And essentially what we want to do is push straight over that road. Because I think that'll actually look really cool having like sort of double-decker roads going on there. The trees underneath are maybe a little bit much. Those might need to be changed ever so slightly. So let's just fix that. So we'll turn it into that kind of road. And I think this here is actually going to turn into a stretch of avenue as well. We'll put some trees on this so it actually looks a little bit nicer. But I think that'll be really cool because what we can do is essentially bring this from over here. I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't really know what I'm going to do with all the lanes. I guess what we could do is elevate, you know, bring it from here. We'll go and turn off grid snapping and we'll go up to, you know, 10 meters and see what exactly that does. So 10 meters would bring us up to there. A little bit steep, but that's okay. And now we just need to bring it across the water in a way that kind of makes sense. So we'll go to about there and then we'll just, you know, level it to that height right there. And that looks all right. We'll turn that into a bridge shortly because we kind of need to figure out what we're doing with this building, the Majesty. It's ever so slightly in the way. And moving a building is... it's a bit weird. You know, it's a bit weird. But I think what we could actually do with it is swap the parking lot with the building and maybe have enough space to make that work. You know, that might just do it, but I think what we'll actually do is get a little road that goes over here. We'll put the Majesty on that road. Oh, I forgot. So the curve's on the wrong side is what we're discovering here. All right, I think this is just going to have to be a straight corner then. So bring that down like that. We'll go ahead. We will turn it into a normal road. And that'll do. So this is going to push straight through there, but there is a bridge already in the way. So I think we're going to lower it, is what we're going to do. I think this, you know, it was once a bridge. It's now going to be a tunnel, which is fair enough. It kind of gets rid of the whole idea that I mentioned of really enjoying the way things look when it's all above ground. But, you know, it's either this or we double stack bridges in the middle of an urban area, which might look a little bit silly. So I don't really feel like doing that. I do want to grab those nodes, though. Get them to be the same height and then just lower them so the ground isn't looking all weird. Which, there we go. That's much better. And we'll do... Well, I guess we could do a little bit of zoning in there. Not that I think it'll be around for all that long because we're pushing a bridge straight through, but we'll see what happens is what we'll do. And I guess while we're here, we could throw a couple more parking lots in here as well, just to really get the detail of, you know, parking by the Majesty, which is still, it's still a pretty cool looking building. Looking at it, I think we are actually going to clip the building, which I'm not keen on doing. So this whole bridge may very well get turned into one of the thinner ones at some point, which might not look as good, but I don't think clipping a building with a section of road is going to look all that great either. So we'll see what we can do. Yeah, it does ever so slightly clip there. I can, we can just move it, can't we? We can go in, we can grab the building, just shuffle it back a little bit. Let's see about there, and that's fine. So that works for me. Police station right there. That's going to need to move. So that can move just up a little bit. Might need to go a little bit further, actually. There's a medical center there that we can't get through, so we'll put it on that side, which may still be in the way. It isn't. Good. All right. Let's keep anarchy on while we do this then, and we'll go to here. And thus far, that looks pretty solid. We are going to need to bring this, I think, honestly, straight through the entire neighborhood here. So I think up to there. And I think straight up through here. And it is getting rid of a lot of buildings, but I think it's just going to look really cool once this is done. And, what way am I going to do this bit? I didn't think about this. I think we're going to need some guidelines to get this to curve exactly the way I'm going to want it to. So we're going to want to go from about there, and we're gonna want to go, oh, how am I gonna do this? So that, right, we'll do that, and then this needs to somehow curve over over that way. Does that looks all right? Yeah, that looks okay. I'm kind of okay with that. And then this curve just needs to somehow exist, is what it needs to do. All right. Is that going to be a thing we can do? That's actually, oh my God, that's actually 180 degrees there. So that runs straight into there. Okay, so that makes life a lot easier. That doesn't look like it goes in a straight line. I'm not going to lie. That really doesn't look like it goes in a straight line. So maybe what we do, we'll bulldoze back to here. And since we know that runs in a straight line in theory, we should be able to keep straight slope on, keep this elevated, and just do this. 179.7 is fine. And there we go. So that is essentially going in a straight line through all that space. That bit gets bulldozed. I think that was about 10 units, wasn't it? That was 6 units. Okay. That's 6 there. So let's bulldoze that bit. We'll do a little curve at the end there just so it's not a very, you know, sharp turn in there. And I think that looks interesting. Obviously, the problem with this is it's going to completely invalidate some of the highways that we have, but I think it looks interesting. So let's go ahead and change some of this into a bridge right there, and maybe just extend it to, let me see here, extend it to about there. I think that puts it nice and central. That looks all right to me. A little bit steep here, but that's fine. I'm pretty sure it's a safe height over all the rest of our roads. So that seems pretty solid, and I'm excited to see what it does for traffic. And by that, I mean I'm excited to see it completely destroy any traffic flow that we had left in the downtown area. Speaking of which, I did make some changes to the vehicle restrictions on some of our roads. These bridges have actually got delivery vehicles banned from using them, which might seem a little bit strange, but essentially I look at it as a heavy vehicle ban on those roads, so that we don't have industrial traffic going from up here across these bridges to down here. Arguably, we could do the same thing on this road, which I think we'll try. We'll give that a shot. We'll see what it does. It might destroy traffic flow, but I'm curious. I'm also thinking, let's just do a bit of zoning in there to fill up that space. And let's do a little bit of zoning down here to fill up those spaces. And let's, again, see what this does for traffic, because it could be a great thing. is what it could be. Alrighty, so far so good. We have got traffic using this, which is kind of cool. And I think it's an interesting looking road, so it's serving its purpose. It gives character to Dorchester. I've also gone ahead and decided to fill in the fences around this park here, which I do want to put some trees into. And I did break my rule, and I did put some paths that connect to this main road here, because I thought it would look interesting having it sort of come off of this avenue. So this will be a little park space that we decorate eventually as well. But I'm noticing that there is a tremendous number of people that are using this path back here to go somewhere. So what I want to do is I want to have a little look, and I want to see where they're going. So you are going where? You're coming over here. You're going down that way. You are walking a massive distance into the heights there, which is interesting because it seems like you're doing, so you're going that way. It's interesting to me that they're doing that because the monorail does go into that area, right? So it's a bit strange they're doing that. Having a look at the bus lines, I mean, it's fair to say that might be a bit of a limiting factor for them. I am also noticing that the buses are, oh no, that's a single bus line comes on there. That's another bus line. Okay, let's get some buses that do some things is what we'll do. Let's have a bus that goes from there, goes up this way, comes down, you know, onto the one-way road there, and we can bring it, you know, over into the neighborhoods, essentially, is what we can do. We can actually have this come down by the hospital. I think that might be a nice shot. So we'll bring it around that way. We can bring it out onto this road if we really wanted to. I don't think we need to do that. But we'll have it go sort of to the hospital. We'll have it come out. I don't really want it to go that way. I'd rather it did go that way. So we will do a stop just there. And then this can go out onto this road. And I guess it can loop around all of this area as well. So we'll bring it down here. We'll bring it down here. And we'll bring it over to about there. And then I guess straight up to there. And I'd be curious to see if we can do a line that goes in the opposite direction there, but I would have my doubts, so we're not going to try that. I do, however, want to do a couple of paths just in here. I want to do one there, and I want to do one there, so people getting off the bus on that side can technically cross the road to get into this this space over here. And I think what we will do is maybe throw in a little pedestrian crossing right about there just so they can actually do that, because I realize a lot of my bus lines are in spaces where pedestrian crossings aren't necessarily going to be all that viable. So we'll have that be a thing that we do. I think this path right here can probably get you know what, I am going to connect my paths out to this new road, because I think it'd be kind of silly not to. You know, we'll have these connections. If people want to use them, they can use them. That's just the way it's going to be. And I think over here we could maybe do, I guess technically we could do a connection there as well. They're not going to be able to cross over there, but it is going to be a connection nonetheless. And I suppose we could go ahead and fill in a bunch of the roads that join to it as well. You'll notice I've already put in some residential zoning on these roads. I figured, why not? Again, you know, I'm breaking a rule that I usually have. Usually I will try and not put residential zoning on a main road like that, but I figured, you know, I just wanted to try it. Basically, I just wanted to try it, wanted to see what would happen, wanted to try and get some zoning just in there regardless, because it is going to take a bit for it to build, and I know residential is one of the more common demands that we have, so I figured, you know, residential zoning basically is what we'll go for there. So we'll see how that plays out. Hopefully very well. Hopefully we start seeing, you know, good traffic flow around here. Overall, the traffic flow in Dorchester is 65%, largely because this area is at a complete standstill. And honestly, I feel like we are going to completely redevelop this this area here. I know that there's a lot of solutions to this. I know one of the most common ones that people suggest is put a roundabout in there. I don't think a roundabout would do it. I don't think a roundabout would do it. I think, honestly, it's going to be a case of just figuring out where traffic's going and how it's trying to do it. There is just a lot of traffic going through here. It is the city center. But in terms of industrial traffic, I mean, most of it coming down here is garbage trucks. And we can take a look and we can see where they're all going. So this truck here, for example, is going into the city over there, right? So if we really wanted to, and we could, for example, go into here and we could say, you know, maybe don't have garbage trucks using that road either. And that will absolutely change the way traffic flows around there. But what we might end up seeing is just all these garbage trucks coming down here, going across there, down onto this road, and then using these bridges. Because these bridges aren't restricted to, you know, garbage trucks can use those no problem as well. So there's a few different things we could do, but I feel like vehicle restrictions is a weird way to do it. That might just be me, but I do feel like vehicle restrictions is a weird way to stop vehicles from using a road. I would rather make a more efficient way to get around than just straight up going like, oh yeah, you guys cannot use the efficient road that exists. And wouldn't you know, I was completely right. All of our garbage trucks are not coming down this road instead. And it looks like what they might actually be doing is using, yeah, this road right about here. Actually, no, those are delivery trucks. That's interesting. And a lot of those are going to the hotels as well. I'm honestly a little bit surprised. I mean, you know, I take that back. I'm not surprised that industry from down here isn't going up to the hotels, because industry from down here can't go to the hotels without getting on the highway and going the whole way around. In fact, obviously it can't use that bridge either. So when I say industry from here has to go on the highway, it gets on the highway and has to go right out to here and then the whole way around, or right out to here actually, and then in. But regardless, yeah, long way around for some of that industry to go. It would probably be an idea to put a cargo train terminal somewhere in like the middle of the city, because we do have one up here and it is actually fairly useful. But yeah, it turns out I was right in my theory that all these garbage trucks are not coming down and taking that turn over there to then go left into this space to then cut down over these bridges. And we can take a little look and just double check that I am in fact right on that, but I'm pretty sure that I am. Having a look at you, you are in fact doing exactly what I said you'd be doing. So what that makes me think is that we can do two things. Number one, I am going to further the vehicle restrictions. I am going to say garbage trucks cannot go over these bridges is what we're going to do. And we can essentially just restrict them, you know, at the bridge level there. That will block the path so they cannot go through there. And I think the second thing we're going to do is actually look at some garbage disposal down here, because we don't actually have any down this way. And obviously, I'm sure, you know, in hindsight, thinking back on this, I'm sure there are comments that I've missed that have said, hey, dum-dum, do garbage disposal in the southern industrial space and you'll not have a lot of the problems that you're having. So we'll do some recycling centers down here and we'll hope that that does some good for us. Obviously, stacking them right next to each other is going to create some traffic, but that should let them filter out a little bit and should hopefully encourage a lot of the garbage trucks to go elsewhere, basically. Now, looking at it, a lot of them are still crossing that bridge. I wonder if it's going to be a case of waiting for the whole thing to update, or if I'm going to need to go in and update the entire section of bridge there. I think I'll update the entire section of bridge just to be sure. Although saying that, it looks like a lot of the garbage trucks have started doing something else. Also interesting is the amount of traffic coming in here. I'm almost tempted to say they should really all be in lane as soon as they're, you know, back here. So let's go ahead and say you can filter across there, you can filter across there, and then I actually just want them to stay in lane the entire way along there is what I want. These guys can filter whatever way they want. But I do actually want them to stay in lane the entire way along here so that traffic isn't doing, you know, all this weird merging later on. That way we should hopefully see it move kind of nicely here. So we'll do that, and that'll force it all to stay in lane. And it'll force it to pick a lane right back here and then stick in it and do its thing. And again, I'm hoping that the added garbage trucks in the south side of things will actually go a long way to stopping garbage trucks coming from the northern industrial area. But again, it's going to be a case of waiting and seeing, I suppose. Although there are no garbage trucks going over these bridges, so maybe the restrictions have actually kicked in. We're going to have to wait and see, though. Well, somehow my changes have made everything worse. Traffic is just backing up more. It's still backing up onto this highway. I did go in and I did take out some of the district zoning on some of these roads because there was a a heavy traffic ban on a lot of this area here. So I took it off of that road, and I took it off of this road, and I took it off of this one as well to see if we can maybe encourage some traffic to go that way, sort of around Dale Park. But whether or not it does that, we're going to have to wait and see. Actually, saying that, this area here is clearing out a little bit, so things might be looking up, but based on the buses, I'm going to say that they're in fact not looking up, but we will figure that out. One thing I did do was set this road so that any traffic going that way has to stay in lane. So from this right-hand turn lane, you can go into any one of those 4 lanes. And that's hopefully going to stop the weird merging, because merging in City Skylines, it does mess with traffic as well. It does slow it down a little bit. And one other change that I made as well was I basically cut the time on the timed traffic lights in half for this entire sequence. And that doesn't really seem to have done all that much either, if I'm totally honest with you. But it is kind of looking like some of these roads could be changed a little bit further. So this one, for example, is a minimum time of 10 seconds. I'm going to make that minimum, it was 20. I'm making it minimum 10, maximum 30, because it seems like that particular state of the traffic lights doesn't really need to be as long as it is. Seems like this one could probably be kind of similar. Make it a little bit shorter as well, although it didn't take long before it swapped out automatically there, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, this is something that future me can deal with in a pretty big way. We'll get to it. 100% we'll get to it. Good news is as well, this whole road here actually has zoning on it, and traffic is moving. It's backing up in a couple of places, but for the most part, it's actually moving. So I think changing that road out to be an avenue was a pretty good call. People are actually using the footpaths as well, which is lovely to see. So I'm actually quite pleased with that change there. I think, you know, it's maybe a little bit less character than the sunken highway had, but I think it's a lot more functional than that sunken highway was. Plus, we got this massive road just cutting through the city, which from a distance, if we turn off, you know, all the HUD elements, I mean, it's a very distinct road cutting right through all of that. But that's kind of okay. That's kind of the point of it. You know, I wanted it to be a very noticeable road cutting through there. I wanted another bridge. You know, we have 2 there, we have 1 there, we have a couple over there. I wanted more bridges, basically. I want a lot of bridges going over the water into this main area. And honestly, that's probably not going to be the last one, but it is going to be the last one for the time being, because ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do us for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you are curious about the live streams that I was talking about at the start of the episode, go to mixer.com/ConflictNerd. There will be a link in the video description below. It won't say mixer.com/ConflictNerd. It'll be a shortened URL. It'll be something like dylan.yt or nerd.yt. Those are both domains that I own. They are just shortened URLs that I've created. There's nothing weird with them. Go to mixer.com/ConflictNerd or whatever the link in the description is. Click that follow button. It'll let you know when we go live. And you can catch up with all the City Skylines that happens on the live stream. I am going to try my very best to make sure that the streams in future are recorded and that, you know, they are documented and that you can actually catch up with what's going on. So hopefully we're not going to have any more major recaps of, you know, things that have happened since the last episode. Either way, thank you so much for watching. It has been my absolute pleasure as always, and as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.